This is English for grade 6. I am your teacher, Ms. Sanai Thail. Hello, students. How have you been? How was your week? Good. I'm sure you have had a great time, right? Okay. Last week, I know you remember it, we were talking about, yes, how to ask opinion and how to give opinion. And we have seen some language patterns that are important to ask for opinion and to give for opinion. Like, for example, what do you think? I think. What do you feel? I feel. Wouldn't you say? I would say. Yeah? Do you think? Yes, I think. Or you can say, no, I don't think so. And then extend your opinion. That is what we have seen last week. Yes? Have you done or have you practiced with the exercise that I gave you? I'm sure you have shown your answers for your teacher. Today we're going to see the passive voice or passive voice and active voice sentences, all right? After this lesson, since we're going to see only two tenses, which is simple present and present continuous, yes, you will be able to change active sentences into passive and to identify passive sentences from a paragraph or everywhere you see. All right? Okay, so it's about passive voice. Follow me. Passive voice. All right. Let us see these sentences first. Look at this. The cat chases the rat. Look, the cat chases the rat. Okay, another. The girl cleans the house. And some more example. Look, Abel is cleaning. Let's use the same sentence, all right? Cleaning the room. And one more sentence with this one. Sarah is washing her uniform. Okay, now look at these sentences very carefully, all right? Look at the first one. The cat chases the rat. Now, in this sentence, let us identify the role of the cat and the rat, okay? Look, here, the cat here in the first sentence is our subject, right? What do we mean when we say subject? That's true. When we say subject, it is someone, yes, who performs the verb or the action, right? Yes, the cat then chases. This action, chase, is performed by the cat, which means the cat is the doer of the action. Okay? Then let's see. The rat. And the rat is an object of the sentence. Isn't it? Yes, the rat is an object of the sentence. That means the rat is the receiver of the action. Okay? The action happened over the rat. It's not the rat who chases. It is the cat. Okay? Good. Let's see the second sentence. The girl cleans the house. Who cleans the house? Now look, who cleans the house? The girl, which means the action clean is performed by our subject, the girl. The girl cleans the house. Who is being cleaned? It is the house. So the house is the receiver of the action. Good. How about on the third sentence? Abel is cleaning the room. Now an action is performing. What is that? Cleaning. Who is doing the cleaning? Abel. Abel is doing the cleaning. That means Abel, which is the subject of the sentence, is performing the action cleaning. And the room is the object that is the receiver of the action. Let's go to the first sentence. Sarah is washing her uniform. Now something is happening on the uniform. What is that? Washing. Who is doing this washing? That is Sarah, which is, Sarah is what? Our subject. Now, on these sentences, all right, what I've been trying to show you here is the subject, okay? The subject is the doer of the action. The doer of the action. What did I say? Let me repeat it again. The subject is the doer of the action. That means active sentence. That is what? Active sentences. Active voice or active sentences. Okay. The subject is what? The doer of the action. Now let us see. I'm not going to use a different sentence, just this one. Let's go to the first one. The cat chases the rat. But I would love to begin my sentence by saying the rat. All right? Look, the rat. Do you think a rat chases a cat? No. At least so far we haven't seen such a thing, right? Yes. The rat, now look at the structure. The rat, what do I say here? The cat chases, yes? But here, when I start with the object, making the object as a subject, then look at the language pattern. The rat is chased. The rat is chased by the cat. Okay, the rat is chased by the cat. Okay, let's go to the second sentence. The girl cleans the house. But I'm going to start with the object. I'm going to make the object a subject, which is the house. So, here we go. The house, yeah? The house, yes? Now, cleans. Here, it is only cleans, which is a base verb, what we call verb 1, right? Okay, the house is cleaned. The house is cleaned by, who is the subject over there? It is the girl. Now the girl is going to be an object, by the girl. Okay, the house is cleaned by the girl. Give attention to this pattern. Is chased, is cleaned, okay? Let's go to the second part, which is present continuous. Abel is cleaning the house. Who is cleaning the house? Abel, our subject. But let us start by saying the room. Yeah? Okay. The room, which was the receiver over there, but now is going to be our subject. The room, now look at this, is cleaning, which is present continuous. Now, how do I do that? The room is, okay, since it is present, then it is continuous. So, being. The room is being, and my verb is going to be cleaned, not cleaning, okay? Cleaned by Abel. Here we go. Look, the room, which was an object on the above, and going to be a subject here in my sentence, the room is being cleaned by Abel. Look at this pattern. Is being cleaned. Let's go to the last one. Sarah is washing her uniform. Now, who is our subject here? It is Sarah, yes? Sarah is, what is she doing? Washing. Washing what? Or what is our object? Our object is her uniform, right? Okay, so let's begin with her uniform. Let's make the object a subject here. How do we start? Her uniform, right? Good. Her uniform, or the uniform, her uniform. Yes? Then, here our uniform, it's singular, is, yeah? Then being washed by Sarah. Okay, what changes have we made? Yes, we make the objects on the active sentence as a subject here, yeah? A subject. But do you think the rat is performing this action? Does the rat chase the cat? No. How about this one? Is the house the cleaner? No. Okay, let's go. The same thing. Is the room the cleaner? It is not. Is the uniform the washer here? No. But these things are what? Our subjects. Even though they are subjects, they are not the doer of the action. Okay, look. The subject is not the doer of the action. The doer of the action. Okay? So such sentences are called what? Passive voice. Very good. Passive voice. Excellent. Passive voice. So we understand something, and that is, in an active sentence, the subject is what? The doer of the action. It is the subject that performs the action, whereas the object is the receiver, which is a common and usual sentences that we make in our daily life, right? Yes, but the reverse is also true when it comes to passive. In a passive sentence, these subjects are not the one that perform these activities. So, since our subject is not the doer, which means passive. Passive means what? Silent. Yes? So, since the subjects are not the doer of the action, to the reverse, it is the object which is the doer of the action, then we call such sentences what? Passive voice sentences. Have you got the difference between passive voice and active voice? I'm sure you do. Let us see, I want you to focus on one thing, one more, yeah? That is the verb. Look at the verb on the active sentence. The first one, chases, cleans, cleaning, washing. The last two are present continuous, so we use a progressive verb, which is verb ing, yes? And the first ones are simple present, so it is a base verb or verb one, right? Okay, how about in the passive sentence? Is chased, is cleaned, is being cleaned, is being washed. Have you noticed on the verb? Yes, all of them are what? Verb 3. So, whether we like it or not, the verb in a passive sentence, either it is simple present, present continuous, or the rest tenses, okay? The form of a passive sentence is, look, passive. And its form. Obviously, there is always a subject, then auxiliary plus verb 3 or past participle. Don't forget this one. Okay? Always, in every tense, even when we continue about the other tense, which is future, yeah, or the perfect ones, the past or the continuous ones, in every tense, the verb form of a passive sentence is always what? Verb 3. If it is always verb 3, then how could you identify the continuous action, the present action, or the past action? Simple answer. Let us see this. We said this one is simple present, right? The cat chases. Simple present. So in order to indicate that it is simple present, what do we use here? The present auxiliary is. For the plural, we use are, okay? So in the case of simple present, let's come here to the form. The auxiliary is yeah, is, are, plus, as usual, the verb is what? Verb 3. This is for simple present. Let me give you some more sentences on simple present, okay? Okay, look. The boys now look at my subject. It is plural, yes? The boys are, yes, the boys are suspended. Suspended from school. Look at this. The boys, plural subject, so are, then what comes after this auxiliary is what? Past participle, which is suspended. That means it's not these boys who has performed this action. Maybe it is the school principal or somebody in the school has performed this one. Yes? Yeah. So the boys are suspended from school. Yes? Very good. Then look, she is called. She is called to the office, or she is called to the office. Yeah? She is called to the office. Look, our subject is singular, she, and the action is present, so I use what? Is. Then, since it is passive, my verb is what? Verb 3. She is called to the office. See? This is how we make what? Passive, simple, present. How about the present continuous? Let us see it in the form, okay? Okay. Look, present continuous. Present continuous. Normally, the present continuous is what? Subject plus is are plus verb ing, progressive verb, right? But this time, in the case of passive, since we said that every verb in a passive sentence is verb 3, then the form is subject, yeah, plus the present auxiliaries like if, are, plus, since it is continuous in progress, then we need to add what? Being, okay? Being. Plus, as usual, our verb is verb 3, or what we call past participle. This is how we make passive present continuous. Let me give you just one example, okay? They are being, now look, they is my subject. Since it is plural, I have to use what? A plural auxiliary, which is are. They are. Now what I'm going to tell is a continuous action, so I use what? Being. So how does it go? They are being, for example, they are being called to the stage. Maybe for some reward, or maybe to make a speech. They are being called. Are present, being continuous, called passive, which is they are being called to the stage. This is how we construct a passive simple present and passive present continuous. Always remember, in our passive sentence, the subject is not the doer of the action, one thing. The other thing, in a passive sentence, our verb is always verb 3, perfect. Then, how do we identify the tense if the verb is always verb 3? By the auxiliary we use. All right? Very good. Now let's go to the negative sentences. How do we make negative sentences in passive? Or how do we change active negative sentences into passive negative sentences? Follow me. Example. She does not make a cake. She does not make a cake. Look, she does not make a cake. As I told you earlier, here, since it is an active sentence, our subject is she, and she is also the doer of the action make, but we have here does not, which is a negative sentence, yes? She does not make a cake is an object. Now, we're going to make a passive sentence, so how should I begin? Yes, I have to begin with the object, that is a cake, yes? Now, in this case, since in an active simple present sentence, we don't use am, is, are with a verb, with a main verb, right? For that matter, we insert the word does in order to make it negative. But in the passive sentence, we have the present auxiliaries, yes? So, a cake is not. Is not. Then, as we have said, the V3 of make is what? Made. A cake is not made by her. Okay? A cake is not made by her. Let me give you one more. All right? Okay. The man repairs the computer. Okay, this is an active sentence. Why? Because our subject is the doer of the action, right? Let's make it passive. We start with the object, that is the computer then computer is singular, so we use is. The computer is repaired by the man. Let us make this one negative. We said the man repairs. How about in a negative sentence? The man, yeah? The man does not or doesn't repair the computer. Let's make the computer, instead of the computer, the computers. Look, there's a difference from the first one, all right? On the first one, we only have a single computer, but this time, in our object, it is more than one computer, all right? Okay, so how do I start? As usual, with the object. The computers, now, my subject is plural. So, the computers are, then it's also negative, are not. Yes? The computers are not, yes, repaired by the man. This is how we change negative simple present active into negative simple present passive. Let's go with the present continuous, okay? Example on the present continuous. Yes, the girls are not watching the new movie. the new movie or film. Movie means film, okay? Okay. The girls are not watching the new movie. In this sentence, our subject here is the girls, yes? That means the ones that are the doer of the action or the ones that are watching, okay? And it is what? The news, which is an object. So to change active sentence into passive, we need to start with the object. So our object is what? Don't forget to bring the definite article and the adjective, all right? So the new movie, we don't simply say movie, but the new movie, okay? The new movie, okay? Now on the first sentence, my subject, yeah? Look, the girls, plural. That's why I used what? Are as an auxiliary. But this time, when I bring the object as a subject, it becomes singular, since I'm talking about a single film, right? So, the new movie is not. Here is not, so is not. Then remember, it is a continuous action. So to show that it is a continuous action, we use the word being. Is not being. As usual, we change the verb watching into watch it. Very good. You're doing great. The new movie is not being watched by the girls. Here we go. See? Is not being watched. Yeah? Are not watching is changed into is not being watched. Okay? So this is how we make a negative, passive, present, continuous sentence. Is it clear? Oh, I heard you say yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much. So today we have seen about the passive and active voice sentences, right? And we said that in an active voice sentence, the subject is the doer of the action, yes? And the verbs change according to the tense. But in the case of passive sentence, the subject is not the doer of the action. That's why we call it passive, because passive means somebody who is silent, yeah? Okay, so our subject is silent, is not the doer of the action. And one other critical point here is always in a passive sentence, the verb is past participle, or what we call verb 3. Okay? That's all what I have for today, but one more thing remained, a homework to practice. Write down the homework. Homework. Change the following. Change the following sentences into passive. Into passive voice. Okay. Number one, he asks the teacher. He asks the teacher. 2. Aster is calling her brother. All right? And number 3, the women are not cooking the food. And my last but not least exercise, he is not all right, he's not cleaning his classroom. Here we go. We have 4 questions that has with simple present, positive, simple present, negative, present continuous positive, and present continuous negative. And I'm sure you find more exercises to practice in your textbook. This is all what I have for today. I will see you next week. Until then, have a good one. Here we go.